Hey guys, this is Daniel,
And Matthew, and we
and we
are
are that
that
damn
damn brand.
brand. Oh, well, we have another episode today. I think it's 31, if I remember correctly. And
Sounds about right.
we actually have a lot in this one, so we're going to jump right into it. Got to save our podcast space on Podpanic. So, the first
Uh,
topic is actually coming back to last week where we talked about Control and their little wonky upgrade to the next console next generation consoles where you would only get the free upgrade or upgrade in general. You can even buy it on the previous if you purchase the new ultimate edition of the game instead of wasting your money at the beginning when they first released their games. They came out and said 505, I believe that's the publisher. Am I correct on that?
I
Yeah.
believe so, yeah.
Came out and said that they couldn't find a way where they wouldn't leave anyone behind, so they just decided to fuck everyone. Um, like I did spend a little while, as I said in the previous episode, I did spend a little while thinking about this, and I myself couldn't think of a way before they responded with this that wouldn't leave other people out. Although my approach would have been different in giving to the people that I could find a way to, and then sorry, other people. But at least not pissing off your whole fan base.
Right.
I think they should have personally, if someone bought the game, like a digital version of the game, along with the season pass or both DLC separately, doesn't matter how you get them, as long as you have both of them, that they should rescind your rights to those and then give you rights to the new version, which contains both of those and nothing new, by the way. There's really nothing new about this new version other than probably it comes in one package. That's something that they did say, though. They wanted to simplify their offerings. So they just wanted to offer it in one package, which makes sense. Just don't fuck over the people that didn't buy it before you simplified your shit.
Right.
So, yeah, I still think that they should, maybe maybe fan pushback will make them change their mind. But they should at least help the digital people where they can track their rights to that. People who bought the physical version, I have no idea how you help them. Like, I really don't.
Right.
I think mailing in disc, like we talked about last time, is too expensive and kind of unrealistic. Um,
I mean, maybe they could just go to GameStop, get their $2, and then put that towards the cost of the new game.
but pretty much, yeah. They just said let's fuck everyone instead of just a little group.
Yeah, it is what it is, but at the fact I did not know this. I kind of thought when you brought it up last time that, with the upgrades they're actually going to be doing stuff to the game, like adding content. But if it's really shit that they're paying for in the season pass, or they've already bought like its DLC previously, it's just in one package. That kind of sounds even more shitty, you know what I mean?
At first, like I didn't really look into it. I thought maybe they would add like a little thing here or there, maybe because normally when they do a Game of the Year edition, they kind of add a little bit or something new. But no, it's literally just the same shit. So it's really bullshit. And it sounds like it's a logistical thing, but there are logistical ways to help some of your fan base, and
Right.
I think they should pursue that.
So it's not even getting like graphical upgrades or anything like on the new
No,
consoles?
I don't know what it's getting in any new consoles. My guess is it would be graphical and it would do the ray tracing because it's known as one of the very few games that actually uses ray tracing in a good way where it doesn't seem like gimmicky. So I'm guessing it is going to get that, but um, I don't know what to say.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they're not. Okay, so that's what I was going to say. They are doing all the graphical stuff, but they're not adding any new content.
Okay. So at least
So,
they're getting something. They're not just buying the same thing that they've already bought before.
well,
Sort
gameplay
of.
wise, yes.
Yeah, sort
It
of.
just looks prettier. Like if you would upgrade your PC hardware, how you can run the game on higher settings.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of irks me a little bit because they're not adding really anything gameplay wise. They're just pushing up what they can do, which they probably already have because it's on console. I mean, not on console, it's on PC. It already has ray tracing, already has that stuff, so they're just probably porting it over to the new gens.
Uh,
But
anyway.
that sucks. Now the next one is a topic you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, it's just kind of like apparently it was announced at some point a while back, but Destiny 2 is now doing what they consider vaulted content, where they're basically removing the entire version of Destiny 2 that Daniel and I played when we played Destiny 2. We were never able to play Destiny 1 because the devs, I believe Bungie and Activision or whatever, promised that it was coming to PC and it never did. And so we jumped in on 2 and we actually played it and enjoyed it for a while until the grind became too fucking much, like around I think Shadowkeep came out, something like that, one of those DLCs. And anyway, they're basically vaulting all of the original story, certain planets like Io and Titan, strikes, raids, and all this stuff that Daniel and I basically played through and enjoyed. They're basically putting into the vaults, and it's like fucks to new people. And so they're one of the reasons that I heard or read about why is because their installation size is getting so fucking huge because the game is so big, and so they're vaulting content to make to bring that down a little bit. But it almost seems fucked up. Like when they went free to play, now they're just like whatever. We don't care about the people that have been playing it, and we don't care that the new people are getting the same experience as people that have been playing it. They're just getting rid of content. It's fucked
Yeah,
up.
I don't agree with this move at all, especially if you're getting rid of the core game, because people are going to want to experience the core game. And at least the expansions that we played, you kind of have to play the core game to understand what's going on in the expansion. So I don't know how they're going to bridge that story gap, or they're just going to do like cutscenes like Phantasy Star. Like,
Right. Simple cutscene that just explains everything. This is what happened up till now. Okay, here you go.
Yeah. So that's kind of shitty. That's really all I got to say on it. I don't really play the game, so is it really just install size? That's like their whole argument.
That's one of the reasons, yeah, is that they're trying to lower that because it's with each new piece of content they add, it just grows and grows and grows, and like we've experienced this personally. Like managing hard drive space for games can kind of be a pain in the ass. So I see where they're coming from, but I also see how fucked up it is because let's say we're playing Destiny 2 this entire time. Let's say we've been playing since the beginning. We've got all the expansions. We got the season pass, whatever, blah, 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 blah. That's content we paid for. And it's just going to be fucking gone now in the vaults. Now, something I was thinking about when I had first saw this was actually Warframe does something similar, but not the same. So Warframe has a vault system, but what they do is they put specific Warframes into the vault, specific items, etc., and then they turn around and pull that shit back out at some point later. So they say, hey, it's going into the vault. You want to try and grind for it now, but then if you don't get it, you're not going to feel like, oh, I'll never have a chance to get it again, because eventually it'll come back out. If I'm
That's
not
different,
mistaken,
though.
and yeah, exactly. If I'm not mistaken, in this case, basically Destiny's just saying, hey, it's going away, and that shit's fucking gone. It's getting locked behind the vault, and you're never going to be able to play it again.
Well, I thought they were going to bring it back and forth, but I didn't really look into it, so you could be right. But like what you're saying with first off, I know Destiny is now a service or try to be a service, but it was always free to play. Not Destiny.
Warframe.
Warframe's a service, but it was always free to play. So you really never paid for any content in a sense. You paid for a gun or a frame, which you get to keep regardless of what they take in and out. Destiny, I bought the campaign. Like I paid for that already. So that's kind of bullshit there.
And I got the season pass. I don't know if you did or if you just bought the DLCs, but yeah, we've spent upwards of $100 on the game, I think.
Yeah, and then we also got the Forsaken. Thank you, E3 codes.
Yeah. good stuff.
But I think it's very different than that because Warframe making it seasonal, that's how they make their money. And then like people like, oh, I really want this and I don't have time to grind it out, so I'm just gonna buy it. But Destiny putting content away, every single piece of content that they've released, you paid for. you paid for that content. So I see it very different to Warframe.
Well, it was just in my mind, like in terms of like vaulting content. I feel like Warframe does it correctly. You know, I will never stop vouching for Warframe. Like that game to me is like the epitome of started out small, kind of indie, and just
Yeah,
built a fan base and a community, and just grows and grows and grows. And like every time they do something, I feel like they're doing it for the benefit of the community. And you know, because they have a founders council. Like if you paid for the initial like 100 something dollars to be on the founders council, they actually have input into where the game goes. um I didn't support the game that much initially. Like I enjoyed it, but I didn't pay enough to get on the founders council, although I think in retrospect all the money I've spent on the game would qualify, but that's a whole
yeah,
nother
you.
story. But yeah, it's just fucked up that Bungie is doing this to Destiny, because, like I said, we played through all that stuff, all the strikes and the raids, and I actually talked to one of my coworkers who happens to play Destiny too, still to this day, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't know what the hell we're gonna be doing now. Like, there's gonna be a few strikes, few raids, a little bit of story, but definitely nowhere near the vast amount of activities that there were before." So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Uh, I don't either. But to talk to segue into the next topic, NVIDIA actually part of that little Twitter thing that they're doing right now about showing big things from each year that they Warframe was actually one of the ones that they did today.
Oh, nice.
And they are, it was a funny comment saying like, this game didn't get a good launch, but they pay attention to the community, so it might go somewhere, So that was cool,
Nice.
seeing that, and I like reading all the comments now because I didn't know that it was a thing that people were commenting into it, like it's like a year that they're releasing, so they're paying into the joke. It's just a fun little thing. Anywho, we're speaking about NVIDIA. They recently saw that the PCBs, which is the motherboard part of the GPUs, are starting to be made. And when that happens, it pretty much means that things are set, things are coming out. And to further that, MSI has just registered 20 something different models of, it's like, I don't know if it's 21, 29, I forget off the top of my head, with the Euro Asia Economic Commission, different 20 plus different Ampere, which is the new GPUs models. So this shit's coming out soon. The new rumors that I saw today on my little tech videos that I watch is saying end of September. So within the next month, we should be seeing some new cards. And we kind of need those new cards and new CPUs for Flight Sim. That thing is fucking destroying PCs. So
Yeah, it's crazy because when we were, I think like in high school, or somewhere around that time, the big thing was, can your computer run Crisis? And now
yeah,
it's like, can it run Microsoft fucking Flight Simulator 2020 or whatever the fuck? Like, it's crazy.
yeah, I heard that. So it seems to be a CPU bottleneck. Hardware Unboxed did a really, really good benchmark test on that. So if you guys are interested in that, they tested a bunch of shit just for that game, just because it's destroying everyone's PCs. It looks to be a CPU thing right now. Maybe when better CPUs come out, the GPU is gonna, be the bottleneck. But apparently, I didn't know this personally. Flight sims are actually like have a really big market, and they're predicting that because of the new flight sim game that I think it's Flight Sim 2020, right? That's the name of it.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, that over the course of its lifespan, it's going. People are going to buy $2.6 billion worth of hardware solely for the flight sim, whether it be graphics cards, CPUs, monitors, joysticks, VR headsets,
Chairs, like those
chairs.
immersive chairs,
Yeah, yeah. Like so, and it's not like I'm going to buy a graphics card for gaming and I play Flight Sim on the side. No, it's specifically for Flight Sim. So that's pretty cool. Like I would love to go over to someone's house that is like hardcore into this shit and just see like a little model plane chair, like a pilot chair that they bought from like a Boeing that was retired or something, and like
Yeah,
And
like the mouse is built into like a console, and that the keyboard is there too with like buttons. It looks like you're actually you got to do the joystick and things that are from a decommissioned plane. Yeah, that'd be pretty
yeah,
cool.
and I totally understand it because I know if they ever release something like Steel Battalion again on PC instead of Xbox, I would totally do that kind of shit.
I
So
mean, with Play Anywhere, they could probably still release on an Xbox.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that's pretty cool. If any of you guys listening are into flight sims and you guys plan on doing that, more power to you. Sounds fun.
Yeah, like if you guys are listening to this or watching this, by the way, we are also now on SoundCloud. So if you're
That's news
watching
to
this,
me.
yeah, if you're watching this or listening to this and you're interested in flight sim like hardcore and you have pictures or something, like comment, let us know, and we'll give you a way to reach out to us, because I'd be interested in seeing some of those legit ass setups that have like the multiple monitors and like the chairs and all the stuff that we're talking about. Like I would love to just see it. Like, even if
Yeah,
it's just to, like, if I can't go visit, then I want to live vicariously through the pictures and be like, that'd be fucking cool. One day, just kind of relax, just go on a flight. Like,
because that's I always love immersion, and that's like I think the coolest thing in video games. That's why I really loved VR, and I picked up Oculus pretty early because I love that kind of stuff. And I love playing the VR games that actually like are
do it
real
well.
games. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just like I want more games to do that. I want more games to have a way to actually get lost in them.
Yeah,
But
so just let us know. Like I said, I'd be interested in checking it out, and maybe if you send us pictures or link to pictures, whatever, we can put them in the next YouTube podcast and we can pop them up
oh
on
yeah,
screen so you guys can check it out.
that's a good
And
idea.
and if you're listening to it, then you miss out. But
Right. We'll give you a shout out too.
yeah, exactly. Obviously, you get credit for it, but
Yeah.
yeah,
So speaking of Microsoft, they decided to jump into the Apple and Fortnite or Epic feud that's going on, saying that Apple taking off Epic's engine of the iStore, I guess. I don't know what it's called.
uh,
Apple Store?
Apple
Yes,
Store,
Apple
yeah,
Store. Would be costly to a lot of people or a lot of companies, not just Epic, which is 100% true. The Unreal Engine's used on many games and many developers use it. And I think it's actually free to indie developers as long as you don't make like
you can't like redistribute it or disassemble it and make it your own and then call it something else.
right. And I think you also have to sell under a certain amount of merch. Like once you hit like a certain amount of your game sold, like then they start charging you. But
Yeah,
anywho, it's a good thing for a lot of developers that are just trying to get their feet off or trying to get their game up, and they spent a lot of time and money into it. And then Apple's just gonna be like, "Fuck you guys, you can't have this engine." I guess I don't even know what the fuck they were thinking personally, but a judge came in and said, "Apple, you're fucking stupid. You can get rid of Fortnite, but you can't do that to your Unreal Engine or to the Unreal Engine." So I like that. I kind of wish that the judge. I don't know how the judge rules in the Fortnite. I don't know if it's still going on or if it just like you can do that like that and it's a done deal. But I do wish the Apple Store can get a little bit more open, kind of like Android. Like granted, the Google Play Store is going through the same thing, but Android is open source, so even if you didn't go to the store, you can still get Fortnite through their website.
right.
So
Well, so I mean, obviously, I'm not a huge. I don't have a lot of knowledge on the whole legal system, but from having watched some legal shows, I can say that there's probably going to be some appeals coming, probably for both decisions, like the one that was in favor of Epic and the one that was in favor of Apple removing it. There's probably going to be appeals on both sides, and I get the feeling this is probably going to be dragged out over multiple years. Like, this probably won't even be resolved until 2021, 2022 at the earliest, I'd imagine. Just because this seems like it's such a huge deal. Like, you've heard that Fortnite is doing like a whole like in-game campaign like against Apple or whatever, right?
yeah,
Like,
and they
so
redid one of Apple's ads against Apple. So I thought that was quite cool. But the funny thing is they had that ready, so they knew like
that shit
this
was
was
coming.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know understand the legal stuff either, but I think it's just going to be extremely stupid for like Apple to do that with the Epic engine. Like, Fortnite, that's one game, that's one app, and a bunch of kids are going to be pissed. But like the engine, that's so many devs that are going to get hurt by that, and you that's so much wasted money for people who are developing for the platform. Like
Yeah, like imagine all the people that are currently developing games or plan to develop games, they have to like suddenly switch. Like
yeah,
that's a huge loss. And obviously I don't have the numbers in front of me or whatever, but I would speculate that probably about 90% of games use Unreal just because it's been around so long. People can vouch for it. There's probably extensive documentation. It's free. Like it has all of these pluses that
yeah.
make it like the engine to use. You know what I mean? Like I want to say off the top of my head, the only other engines that come to mind are like the Avalanche engine, like Battlefield uses, or Dice, whatever it's
Frostbite,
called, Frostbite. Yeah. Um,
the Unity by
and
Ubisoft.
right, and Unity. To me, those are like the three. Avalanche, Frostbite, whatever, Unity, and Unreal. Like
Yeah, I really can't think of a lot of game engines either, to be honest.
so.
Um, but then, like, also, Apple's massive, so they're probably just gonna be like, that's chump change, even if it's millions of dollars. That's nothing to them. But you're probably gonna get all these developers who, lose money, whatever, and they're not gonna develop for Apple anymore because just in the blink of an eye, Apple can get a feud with something. It doesn't even fucking involve them, and they could just get the rug pulled out from under them, and they'll learn their lesson and move on. So it's bad for everyone. It's bad for Apple. It's bad for the developers, and then it's bad for the people who actually buy the iPhones because they don't get the apps or the
Yeah,
games.
I mean, it's just bad for the gaming community in general. Like,
Yeah.
nothing, no good can come for this other than possibly opening up the Apple Store, like you mentioned earlier.
Well, I
So,
think that's the Fortnite issue.
well, right, but
Yeah, yeah. I guess personally, I see them as two different issues. But yeah, I do want to see the Apple Store open up a little more.
yeah.
So, speaking of Microsoft's and they're releasing a new Xbox. Okay. If you didn't know, well, so this actually doesn't have to do with that Xbox. It has to do with PlayStation. There was a leak on a site. I forget which site it was. It's really not relevant because I took it down, and it was a retailer. They're showing the PS5 for $500. People are thinking that that's the real price. Granted, prices can change at any time, but since it was actually posted on a retailer, people are thinking that that's it. I think personally that that's a good price for the PlayStation, considering the type of tech that's in it. If you had asked me that for the PS4 when it first launched, I'd say no because that was a piece of shit when it launched, tech wise. But PS5 is like a mid-range computer. Like that's fucking a good ass price, and they even has technology in it that you can't get in PCs right now. So I think that's a great deal for it if that really is the case. I can see how people who don't follow tech the way I do would disagree because consoles generally cost like $400 when PlayStation did do the $500 console, well, PS3 back in the day. It was not good for them. And just money in general, people buy consoles because it's just cheaper. You spend a few $100, you get into the ecosystem and you get to play games. So obviously there's going to be a market for it. There's people who love consoles that would be willing to spend that much, but I think the high of a price might set off some people to wait a little while to see what Microsoft offers. And I really do believe that if PlayStation's only releasing a $500 console, assuming it's $500 of course, whenever the Xbox Series S comes out at like $200 or $300, that's going to be the one that most people buy solely on price. And then the Game Pass is such a good deal. I don't think I've seen anyone over the tons of YouTube videos and reviewers that I watch ever talk bad about Game Pass.
I mean, how could they?
Yeah. Like even ones that are very critical of Microsoft say Game Pass is a great deal. So the Xbox Series S, I think, is going to be the winner if PlayStation doesn't do some sort of like PlayStation 4.5 or something. I don't know what to call it.
PS5 Lite.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think we discussed this off video, off record, or whatever. But like, yeah, the $500 is probably the highest amount they can go that people would be willing to pay. I think about 600. Like,
That's
they,
steep.
yeah, and like especially for when consoles first launch, it's not like there's a plethora of games. I mean, sure, there's backwards compatibility, but you don't really buy a console to play your old games. Does that make sense? Like, you want
Yeah,
to, if
no,
you're going to get the new shit, you want to play new games, you want to experience all the new tech and everything. So,
I'm on board with that 100%. I personally, I know there's a huge fan base that likes this. I personally never cared about backwards compatibility. So whenever people were outraged at PlayStation for not having it, I never understood it, even though didn't even like PlayStation. I was like, I don't buy a PS5 to play or PS4 to play three games.
right.
That's what I have a PS3 for. But anywho, um, I think that was one of the big points that people are bringing up too, is that now that Halo is not coming out at launch, neither console actually has any app to sell it. I don't think Miles Morales is going to come out for a few months. Um, Ratchet and Clank, is that launch?
I'm not sure. I feel like it's been a
But,
while since the last Ratchet and Clank game, so it's possible it could be ready to come out.
but I don't see Ratchet and Clank being the killer app either. I don't see people buying a PlayStation for Ratchet and Clank. I see them
Not
buying it if they already have it. I don't see them buying it for it.
it's not going to be the thing that sways someone to buy a PS5, but if they were going to buy a PS5 anyway, they'll get Ratchet and Clank. You
No,
know
I
what I
agree
mean?
with that. It's a decent game.
Yeah.
So I agree with that 100%. But yeah, like as we were saying, someone who wants to separate with half a grand right now in the current economic climate, like for something like it's not even really, there's nothing to play on it.
Right.
Either side, and not being an Xbox fanboy, I'm saying either side. So
Well, so and this is purely speculative. I literally just thought of it right now. But so let's say stimulus checks come out. The next round of
yeah.
stimulus change checks come out, and then people are like, that $500 PlayStation looks kind of nice."
No, I do believe that's true because I think there was a report saying that 12% of the people who got stimulus checks bought it like computer parts and shit. Or maybe it wasn't 12% of people, but it was a huge number. Like there was a huge jump in computer parts that was directly linked to stimulus checks, which was part of the problem why there was a lot of computer part shortages. Because not only do we have supply chain issues, people went out and bought a bunch of shit because of the stimulus checks.
Yeah, I literally just saw a Jay's 2 cents video where he's talking about how power supplies are in short demand right now, or
Yeah,
short
I just
supply
saw.
right now.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. I saw that video earlier.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's a little steep, but they're going to be losing a lot of money if they lower the price anymore. So they're probably trying to do that balance where it's like, where can we sell enough consoles to get people in the ecosystem and not lose a shitload of money, because they actually do have good technology in it this time around. So
Well, and like Microsoft took a huge hit on like I think it was the original Xbox or maybe the 360, one of those. Like, but they knew they could make it up. Once, like you said, the ecosystem was established and
yeah,
the console was in people's hands. Like, sure, they took losses on the console itself, but once people had them, they knew they would sell games and accessories and all this other shit. So,
I
you
think
know,
Microsoft's business model is probably better than Sony's. How they're embracing it as a platform rather than a console, because now you can. They claimed you could play all the games for up to 2 years on the previous generation. You can play it on PC. I wouldn't be surprised if they team up with Nintendo and put the Game Pass on Switch with XCloud.
that'd be pretty legit.
And they have a really good relationship with each other, and they don't care about you buying their hardware. They want to sell you the Game Pass. And if I guess if it was up to them, they'd rather you buy someone else's hardware because they're not taking a loss on it.
Exactly.
So
So if the Game Pass comes to the PlayStation,
I don't know if they're that friendly with Sony, but
no,
yeah.
I am, but I'm just saying, game changer, ball game right there. Fucking Sony sells the hardware, Games Pass from Xbox on the software. It's
Yeah.
over. Yeah.
But I just thought that was a $500 PS5 potentially. Let's see who buys it.
Yeah. And if you're gonna get a PS5, let us know in the comments.
And which games you're actually interested about it, because I'm curious about that. Like which launch games. Because I have I talked to Shiro. He was streaming Dark Souls, and I was chatting with him, and I asked him about if he would get one at launch, and he was like, I might, but there's no games I want to play. So it'll probably wait.
I mean, he doesn't want to get it to replace his current router. It's a joke.
Oh, I wonder if that $500 was the disc version or the non-disc version, because the non-disc version would be cheaper. So what if like the disc version is $600?
Damn.
So I want to ask you this question.
All right.
If you were to get a PS5, would you get the disc version or the digital version? I mean, I'm actually contemplating a PS5, honestly. But
well, so if it would depend, like let's say if I had finances, like if I had the finances just to be able to buy whatever version I want, I would probably go with the disc version, just because it's not like I can't download to it, you know what I mean? Like I just like having the option of if I want to collect the disc and I want to do the box, like if it's a game I really want, and having the physical copy, like kind of like how we discussed in the previous episode, people that enjoy the physical versions of things. Like there are certain games that I just like having the physical box and everything of.
Right. So you would you would pay the extra $100 to get the disc version.
Just to have the option, yeah.
Okay. So I'm the opposite, actually. I would probably get the digital. I'm like the only person that I've heard that said they'd want to get the digital so far.
And well, it's not that I wouldn't want the digital. It's just I like having the option.
Well, I understand, but I'm saying like I would, even having the option, I would save the $100 and get the digital. Like,
use the $100 to buy some games.
Yeah, exactly. I use the $100 to buy some digital games. The way I see my gaming habits is I have a PC that I like maintaining with current hardware, and I like keeping it nice and powerful. Every single third-party game I'm going to buy on my PC. I'm only going to play like first-party games on PlayStation. So if I'm only buying the PlayStation for like 5-6 games, I don't need to spend the extra $100 on to get the discs.
Well, I mean, if in this hypothetical scenario, it's saying that if I had the means to buy it anyway, like I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna get it.
Well, I'm saying if I had the means to buy either or,
you still just
I still want it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
But talking about digital games, you wanted to bring up
Battletoads. Yes, like we streamed Battletoads, the 2020 version, remake, reboot, however you would like to refer to it as. Like within the past week, at least twice on Twitch, probably I think about 8 hours total. I know one of the streams was like 4 hours, the other one was like 3.5, something like that. Anyway, and I plan on making a totally separate video because I have a lot to say about the game. Daniel said basically his thoughts are pretty much the same as before, but so I'm not going to go too far into it, but I will say that I enjoyed a couple of things about the game.
Well, we can discuss it. I wasn't able to discuss gameplay before, which gameplay is obviously huge in the game.
True. But, okay, fine then. We'll just go into it. So I'll start with the things I liked, and then you can tell me what you liked, and
Yeah, I'll tell you what I didn't like and did like and.
Right. Okay. So.
Yeah.
Number one was the combat, like fighting, and see. Okay, so I have to be specific in this, as I was thinking about this earlier today, because combat is a relative term. The fighting as the Battletoads on land when you are punching and kicking.
The beat 'em up portion.
Yes, like the classic side-scrolling beat 'em up portion, because combat could also imply the fucking ship combat, which was awful. That shit was fucking terrible. But so the side-scrolling beat 'em up combat as the Battletoads was fucking outstanding. It actually was kind of in depth, where you had to like crowd control some of the enemies using bubblegum. You can knock them into the air for juggles. You could stun them by sending your tongue out and like essentially grappling them towards you, or you going
Get
to
over
them,
here.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was kind of in depth for a game like this, and so the combat as that was fun. That part was fucking great. Unfortunately, it didn't feature a lot of it. And then the other thing was the music. Like the soundtrack wasn't awful. Like the da-na-na, like just kind of
Yeah.
like generic rock music was. It didn't seem out of place.
Right.
Sometimes when games get remade or rebooted, they take a lot of license with the music because they're like whatever, it's no one cared about the music. But hell, like that's one of the things that I really enjoyed about a lot of the old games, like the fucking Sonic the Hedgehog soundtrack, and hell, even the original Phantasy Star Online soundtrack from Dreamcast. Like some of these songs and tunes, like I really enjoy. And with Battletoads, like the update music fits, it doesn't seem out of place and it's fine. So that combat, the music, those are the parts I
Yeah.
liked.
So I want to expand on the combat a little bit more because it was, I think it's incredibly well done. Like the beat 'em up combat. And like when you get into a fight and you see the enemies, you have to identify which enemies you are going to target first. Because if you leave certain ones alone, they're going to kill you. And it wasn't just like a simple beat 'em up where you just beat the shit up out of anything. You actually had to have to strategize within the fights to succeed. And I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the fact that there was more than just pressing X.
Right.
I agree with you 100% about the soundtrack. I guess you were going to get into the other parts that you didn't like, the other gameplay, or are you just going to leave it at that for now?
We can bounce off of each other. So just tell me, because I talked for a little bit. So tell me what your
Yeah.
thoughts are on that.
So for the other parts of the gameplay, I actually didn't mind it as much as you did. Like I don't mind there being Ikaruga clone for the most part. I don't mind there being little like the side-scrolling Guacamelee wannabe stuff. I just think there was too much of it. Like I don't mind if there's like a little portion where it's like, aha, look at this, and it's like a little novelty thing. But how long of that did we have to run? Like do like the Ikaruga thing kept coming back, and then like I remember it was just like they even made fun of it in the thing. Like, okay, we're done, and then someone fucking space litters. They're like, all right, let's go kill them. Like, no, motherfuckers. Like, let's move on with the next part of the game.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, I was just gonna reiterate. Like, I didn't mind the gameplay being there because Battletoads was known for multiple types of gameplay, as we were talking about the first one, where most people died on the third level. But just getting to that third level, you already had each level was different. You had the first level, which was a beat 'em up. You have a second level, which you were going through the hole on a rope and just swinging around the rope, hitting crows and these things that shoot at you. And the third one was their pod racer type thing. So it was just too much of the bullshit.
I agree. Like, so you get some really great fighting, like beat 'em up, hand to hand combat, whatever you want to call it. And then you get thrown into like random ass mini games, like fucking WarioWare style mini games. Like
Yeah, it really is.
The one where you had to like massage somebody, and then you were like sending emails, and like there's just fucking random ass shit. Like, okay, a little bit of this would be fine, but in terms of like the breakdown of the game, I feel like the hand-to-hand combat is probably about 25%. The mini games probably about another 50%, and then the rest, like the other 25 or whatever, is the Guacamelee, whatever thing you're talking about, Metroidvania type thing.
Yeah, and the
Ikaruga, and like the speed bikes or whatever. And like you said, the Ikaruga, I didn't mind some parts of it. But when we have to like spend an hour, because okay, first of all, guys, just so you're aware, we are not the type of people to play the game on fucking easy. We are playing on Battletoad, which is the hardest difficulty. And I actually don't know if Daniel knows this, but I actually went and watched the ending of Battletoads because I knew we were getting close to the end, and I knew it was gonna take forever to beat the whole speeder bike thing. And because I don't know if it's the lag or what, but if we're gonna beat it, Daniel's gonna carry us because I'm doing awful. But basically, the difference between Battletoad, which we played on, and the ending I watched where the guy played on Tadpole is fucking crazy. Tadpole is the easy mode, by the way. Like the speeder bike section that we were on, he probably got an eighth of the obstacles that we got on Battletoad
Holy
difficulty.
shit.
It's so fucking easy. Like he's, a few jumps here, a few dodges there. He just goes and it's like super easy. Like I probably could have done it blindfolded, to be honest, and I suck at that. But so that is just telling you that the developers like intentionally made the game difficult, and like I understand it's supposed to be on hard mode, and that was one of the things that was good about the original was kind of like the speeder bikes, and but it's different when you have a 2D game and you can only kind of move up and down and you make the jumps and stuff. And one of the things I liked about the original one was that really huge jump that you had to make, and if you mistimed it, you just fell. And this
That's the one
one,
I
that's
always make. I miss. I don't
yeah,
know what you're talking about.
exactly. It's very fucking memorable. But these speeder bike sections in the remake are just kind of like dodge, 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 jump, a little small jump, jump through a hole, which was bullshit the one time you didn't make it. But anyway,
Yeah, I know.
yeah. And so it's, all of these other things, I can tell they were trying to change up the gameplay, trying to make, like how you said, how the original had so many different kind of varieties of gameplay. They were trying to kind of incorporate that, but they went overboard with the filler. I feel like if they had expanded the combat section of it, like a lot more, like if they had put in like some major fights, like how many actual on land boss battles did we have? Like there was the pork shanks guy, the guy like that we fought as Jeff or whatever.
Oh yeah,
And
the
like,
wood guy. I think that's it.
yeah,
I can't think
right,
of anything else.
right. So I mean, th- for a game that's fondly remembered as a beat 'em up, there actually wasn't a lot of beat 'em up.
I, I I agree with that, and that's my major complaint was that, and that filler is a good word, is that the filler was more than the actual game. Like I don't mind the little, as I said before, I don't mind like an Ikaruga level, but like let's just throw one for variety, and then we can go back to being Battletoads. Let's just do one like of the side scroller Guacamelee wannabe things, and then let's go back. We don't need a whole section of the game, like a whole act of the game. That's I think we started on Act 2 and we played through all of Act 2 and we got to 4, so we're almost done with the game. And all of Act 3, I don't think we ever touched the beat 'em up portion again. So a quarter of the fucking game in a row, we didn't even play like what you expect to play.
Right.
So yeah, like I don't mind the variety. I think there was too much, not too much variety, but too much of those sections where it's just like, let me play as a fucking Battletoads. I don't.
Yeah, I think what happened was somebody had the idea that this game needed to come out. Like they were like, "Hey, we announced it a year ago or 2 years ago. This game needs to come out," and it wasn't ready. And you can tell that obviously there was some great parts of it. As like I said, the combat's fucking fantastic, music's great. Something we haven't touched on, but I plan to do a whole video and I'll get to it. But if we can keep talking about it here, was the dialogue itself and the story.
Oh, I was gonna bring that up.
Okay.
Yeah, the fucking dialogue's awful. So I think the moment that I realized fuck this game in terms of dialogue is when the Dark Queen and the Battletoads were still like first gonna team up, and the Dark Queen tells the Battletoads, "Suck my butt." I brought that up on the stream, and it just like kills me. I was like, because the Dark Queen to me, she's like a dominatrix, like I'm gonna use my heel to crush your balls type person. And then now you have this like high school kid telling the Battletoads to suck her butt.
And she's a British high school kid.
And it's I was just like, God damn it.
Yeah, that pretty much describes my feelings on the whole game when you're not doing the fighting on the ground combat. Like, God damn it.
I like the game, and I think the game would have done. I think I would like it more if it wasn't Battletoads. and it was some random characters that they made up for that game, because that game didn't really consist anything with Battletoads other than, oh, we were once heroes and now no one, like, so it recognized the old story, but then went in a completely fucking different direction that you don't even need to really have the old story to worry about. You could have the story of just some random ass people that want to be famous, and then they go find a random, like they go find the old villain, try to bring them up so that they can take them down. Like, you don't have to have the Battletoads for that story. There's nothing about this story that says Battletoads. There's nothing about these characters that say Battletoads. So just don't fucking put Battletoads in them and make the game. It would have been a fine game. I bet you would get less hate if the Battletoads weren't in the fucking game and you made a Battletoads game that was like old Battletoads. Like, what a fucking novel idea.
Head explode. Like, yeah, that's, I mean, I mentioned this on stream as well. I feel like it was almost sort of made with in the back of the developers and the producers and all that, the publishers' minds, as a means of kind of like a pilot for a TV show. Because I feel like with the look and the dialogue and the way that it was written, it could be a Nickelodeon TV show. Like
Well,
you said, it
they
kind of looks like Teen Titans or something, right? Like,
so the Teen Titan, it wasn't so much that it looks like Teen Titans as in, I think it looks like I compared it to Teen Titans because you had Teen Titans, the Nickelodeon, or not Nickelodeon, the Cartoon Network show where they go fight evil and Slate and all that stuff. And then they brought the Teen Titans back, and they brought them back as this like weird show where they're cute, the animation's cutesy, and you have like Beast Boy and Cyborg doing dances about hot dogs and ice cream and shit. And like, it has nothing to do with what the original show was about. And that's what I mean by that, where they took a somewhat serious game where, obviously it's fucking toads, it like beat the shit out of things, so it's not too serious, but the lore itself was serious, and like it was more of a badass type, like, we're gonna kick your ass type thing, and it turned into some like kid show.
yeah, that's what I'm
So
saying.
that,
It could fit in right with Nickelodeon. Like if they were to just make more of the scenes and the dialogue, they could just turn it into a Nickelodeon show.
well, the devs, like, I don't know if you watched the things coming up to it that Rare and Microsoft were releasing. They were releasing like daily uh, things on Twitter. One of them was that they actually did design the cutscenes and the story to be like a Saturday morning cartoon. Their words. So
I can see it. I can absolutely see it. It's just sad because we enjoyed the original game so much and the arcade game and like the hell even all the other games, Battletoads versus Double Dragons and
yeah,
all that stuff.
the arcade game is one of my favorite games of all time. One of my favorite arcade games of all time. And what I really liked about that over the other ones was how gory it was and how bloody it was. And as a kid, like, that shit was badass. And still to this day, I can't think of a side scroller that's that gory and bloody in that way.
Yeah, I don't know, but I actually was looking at the wiki this morning, and so did you know the arcade version came out after the NES release and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because like I guess it did well on the NES and I think the Mega Drive or some other systems, and then they decided like, well, let's re-release it in the arcade, but let's up the gore and let's make it 3-player. Because like that's one of the cool things about arcades is that on home consoles you're limited to 2 players, but if you go to
Right.
arcades you can play 3, 4. Hell, with fucking X-Men you can play 6.
Six.
Like,
Yeah.
well, on the right cabinet. Some of them were 4, but if you got the one that was
Right.
6, it was
You
fucking
got the real
cool.
cabinet. Those
Right.
other posers.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
But yeah, like, it was just, I think it's disappointing to anyone who has fond memories of those games and expected them to be of that nature. And if you wanted to make this game, it would be a good game, because I still, like we said, we still enjoyed the combat in it, but you didn't have to use the Battletoads. And the Battletoads were using the Battletoads in this style of game. You're simply just riding the coattails of what happened 20 years ago.
Right. I mean, at least it was still by Rare. Like, it could have been handed off to somebody else. But
It
I could have saw this style of game it would have made more sense if this was handed off. You know what I mean? Because but the fact that it was by Rare, like it's almost more kind of like a slap in the face.
I don't know. Rare's a shell of themselves at the same time, so
Also true.
I really don't. When I see Rare, I don't think like, oh shit, Donkey Kong Country anymore.
Yeah, like Rare used to be the symbol of quality. Like you saw Rare and you're like, oh shit, this is gonna be a good game. And then the
Now it's just
last
Microsoft shovelware.
yeah, like the last what 5 10 years has been just kind of shit ever since like Perfect Dark Zero or something.
Well, I actually think that game was pretty crap. Like I loved playing
Well,
it
that's what I'm saying.
because
Since then, like at Perfect Dark Zero, and then it's been downhill.
I don't know. I love Viva Pinata.
Okay, well, it's kind of maybe more of a roller coaster with a few highs, a lot of lows.
It's just they do different style of games now, and like I don't know why they just don't rebrand them. Maybe because Rare does. Like maybe that. I mean, that's what it is. Brand recognition. People think Rare. Um, but it's just a different team. It's not the same. I don't know. I don't care that it's from Rare, like personally, because it's not really Rare anymore, in my opinion.
Right.
But I just found this out while researching the Battletoads a few days ago. I didn't know that because of Battletoads' success on the NES, Nintendo allowed Rare to do Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah, I was not aware of that either, but I'm glad they did.
Yeah. That's just a cool, fun fact that you find on our podcast every now and then.
What?
Well, going on to another shitty thing.
Your segues have been fantastic this episode. Let me just say that they've been pretty top notch. I know where you're going because I have the outline too, so I'll just go ahead and jump right.
That's
into
all
this.
you because I didn't play it. So
yeah. So as we mentioned in like the past probably 3 episodes now, Marvel's Avengers, the open beta this past weekend, and I had a chance to give it a shot. I probably ended up playing it for about 4 hours off and on throughout the day on Sunday, and it suffers from issues that Daniel had pointed out. I don't know if he pointed out on the podcast, but like frame rate issues, slowdown, etc. It didn't look awful. It actually played pretty good, if not repetitive. And I said this to him not on recording, but basically the characters that you could play as Scarlet Witch, Hulk, Iron Man, and I believe Miss Marvel. I don't think I'm missing any. You play as Thor and Captain America during the like tutorial, but in terms of actually playing like with other people, you can't play as them. So out of those characters, I actually had the most fun playing as Black Widow because did I say Scarlet Witch earlier? I meant Black Widow. Anyway,
I wasn't paying attention. Sorry.
yeah. Anyway, that's fine. Anyway, so Black Widow, I actually had the most fun playing as her, and the way I described it was it's kind of like because she doesn't have like these overpowering abilities. Like with Hulk, you can lift huge chunks of out of the ground and like throw them at enemies. And Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, she can like make her fists all big and stretch halfway across the level and hit guys and stuff. Whereas with Black Widow, you had to be a little more tactical. She can run and do drop kicks and flips and evades and this sort of thing. And so it feels almost like she's a real person and doesn't have all these super abilities. You get to use guns and her like heroic ultimate, she pulls out the staff and becomes like super powerful. You can like smack the bad guys with. She almost felt like playing as Gambit to me, which is cool because I've always been a fan of Gambit. He was one of my originals in Marvel Heroes when that was around.
Oh,
rest in peace, Marvel Heroes. But yeah, so overall the Avengers beta was fun, if not flawed, and I see it being fairly repetitive, just based on the fact that the missions. So, one of the missions I joined with other people, I expected to last a while, like go in, play, get to check out everyone else, maybe do some team ups or whatever, but it was over in like 10 minutes. Like we joined, we walked through, it was like kill these guys. We're like, all right, went in, wrecked those fucking guys, and it was like mission complete. I'm like, yeah, I was expecting a little bit more, so not so much. But I will say that a different level took maybe 45 minutes to an hour, and that was because it started like outside, and then you had to go to a base, and then you had to go inside the base, and then you had to go deeper inside the base, and then you had to fight this, you had to do this. So it's like we said, previously. If the game drops to like $10 or lower, we'll pick it up. We'll play it in a weekend. Maybe we'll stream it, whatever. But as a full retail $60 plus game with probably DLC and a season pass, it's just not. It's just not the move. Like I don't foresee that happening for us. um there was kind of like a mission pass type thing, like per character, where, so for my instance, Black Widow, you could unlock different emotes, different nameplates, different outfits for, completing challenges as her. Or just like games these days, you could use the in-game premium currency and pay to unlock levels if you didn't
Even
want
the
to.
beta?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
But you couldn't buy the actual premium currency in the beta.
Okay.
It gave
Okay.
it to you so you could check it out. But I'm pretty sure that's what the model is going to be, because
First one's free.
that's how, yeah, because that's how games are.
Yeah.
Um, and speaking of the betas, this is something that I was thinking as I was playing it, and I probably mentioned it to you and Alvin in the Discord the other day. But betas these days, to me, don't have the same kind of feel as they used to, because the beta, quote unquote beta, comes out like a week before the game launches. Like Marvel
For demos.
Avengers, yeah, Marvel Avengers comes out in what, a week, 2 weeks? Like
I
it's
don't know.
it's basically right around the corner, and they're having a beta for it. Like it's not a beta, like you said, it's a demo, because there's nothing that was in the beta that they can fix in time for release.
I actually think it's really
Because
dumb for people to have betas like that for a game like that has like frame rate issues that we were talking about, where they're saying a 2080 Ti can't even run 60 frames a second on low settings, 4K. Um, I think it's stupid to even have that beta, because just from being burned so many times with betas a week before the game, the game's going to ship with the same issues. They're not going to fix that shit in a week.
there's
So
no
now
way.
you're letting all these people see that you have a fucked up game, and they're not going to buy it. But I guess transparency is better than people just getting fucked.
I mean, yeah, transparency is always a good thing, especially from a consumer's perspective. But it's
Your
just
original
not
place to
this.
stand, not a beta.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
it's just not. They need to do them farther out, so that let's say this beta was in January or February, and the frame rate issues became a thing. They would have time to fix it before launch, and you wouldn't
yeah,
have to download like a however many gig patch or whatever. But the game's gonna come out, and if, let's say they do manage to fix it at launch, you're gonna have to download a huge fucking patch, unless you want to just deal with the frame rate issues.
right.
So I don't know. Betas need to go back to being betas and not just, like you said, demos.
When I saw the issue on that, that made me a little bit more concerned about the game than I really was. Like before, I wasn't really too concerned about the game because just don't buy it, and like eventually buy it down the road when it's cheaper or whatever. But now it's kind of like, well, not only do I need to watch for content, because I personally don't think that there's going to be a lot of content in launch. There could be. I could be wrong. This is just my own speculation. It's not coming from anything. But I just think nowadays when you're selling things as a service, it's a cop out for you to not be, like, okay, here's a few hours of gameplay, but we're adding another level in a month. So, you know, I just, and I was gonna watch for that along with people, saying the combat, if it's actually good, if it's repetitive, or the new hero's good. But now it's like, can my computer run it? because, because it runs so bad.
Right. It's so poorly optimized.
Right. So I don't know. I don't care either way, one or the other, because it's not a game that I'm being disappointed by. I never had expectations for it, so we'll see.
Yeah, so that's probably gonna be the last thing we mention about Marvel Avengers, at least for a while, unless there's some more bullshit shenanigans that come out after launch or what
Right.
have you. But I feel like we've almost kind of ran it into the ground. So until we pick up the
I'll,
game and have our thoughts.
I'll bring it up if like they get some more stupid sponsorships. But other than that, yeah.
Yeah, so
But
moving on.
right, there's another superhero game that actually looks more promising in my eyes. Gotham Knights. So I'm a fan of the Arkham series. Those are some of the first PC games that I played, and I enjoyed them a lot. I thought thought they were really cool. The Scarecrow fight was really fun. Uh,
It was.
I really didn't like the Joker fight that much in the second one, where he gets all bulky.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, the games themselves are a lot of fun. It looks like they're doing a multiplayer one now, which that's pretty cool. I don't know from the gameplay I saw, it only showed 2 people, but I'm not too sure if it's gonna be 2 or 4 since there are 4 playable characters. Bruce Wayne unfortunately dies somehow. I don't. He blows up. I don't know exactly how,
It'll be
but
announced, but
yeah,
yeah.
it'll be shown. But and then they have Batgirl, Robin, Nightwing, and Red Hood.
Correct.
So I think that's gonna. I think that's pretty cool. Arkham game with multiple people. That's fucking badass. I can't. I don't
Yeah,
know
I
what else to
mean,
say
like,
other than that. Like that's cool.
yeah, it looks like it's gonna be hella fun. I like that they're including kind of like lesser known characters. I mean, to me, Red Hood is probably the least known character. Like, I just personally, from people that I know that are into comics and stuff, like they know who he is, but like out of the 4 listed, I feel like Red Hood is kind of the one that's
I'd agree with that. Where people would have to look up who he is.
right.
I thought Red Hood was pretty interesting that they added him in just because of the fact that they don't kill anyone. And then in the trailer, you see Red Hood shooting people. So technically, he's the only one that kills, unless they go against what they did with
Well,
Batman. But
and it's who knows? It could just be like Batman's dead, so we don't have to live by his code. Like we still want to uphold justice, but fuck that, we're gonna
right,
do our own way. I mean, we'll find out when we play it. But
right. I'm
like,
excited to play as Robin and Nightwing, though.
I was looking at Robin and Red Hood, so that'd be cool. We could do like a playthrough. We swap as Robin and then play as the other one or whatever. But
Yeah. So yeah, it looks fun. I'm excited about that. Another Arkham series, and I think almost anything's better in co-op. It's just a lot more fun to have
I
someone to tactically do stuff with, and
Yeah, I agree. I just remembered something actually about the Marvel Avengers. I know we said we were done, but as you were speaking, I remembered it. So Nolan North, who usually voices like Deadpool in games,
yeah.
actually voiced Iron Man in the Avengers. I was noticing it, like as I was like whoever was playing as Iron Man, like I kept hearing the voices. I was like, that sounds like fucking Deadpool, and then I'm like, I put it together. I'm like, it's because it's Nolan North.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So like
That
it's
fuck with
it's
me.
it would, right? Because you're playing as Iron Man
Yeah.
and he sounds like fucking Deadpool. Like, okay, all right. But anyway, yeah. So Gotham Knights seems cool. The co-op, we're looking forward to it. And speaking of co-op, here's my good segue for the episode. Also, recently it has come to my attention that there's going to be a motherfucking Surgeon Simulator 2. I had no idea that this game was in development. I figured that based on the success of the original Surgeon Simulator that there would be one, but I don't recall ever seeing like an announcement for it. And then someone posted something on Twitter and I was like, that kind of looks like Surgeon Simulator but multiplayer. And then I researched into it, and sure enough, Surgeon Simulator 2 is supposed to have 4-player co-op.
That's crazy.
Mind blown.
But yeah, that's pretty insane. Hopefully, because Surgeon Simulator 1 supports VR, right?
Yeah.
So two should. Oh, that's gonna be crazy. 4-player co-op in VR.
Yeah, just from like the screenshots and some gifs and stuff that I've seen, it just looks absolutely nuts. Like somebody was, there's an operating table, and then somebody was trying to do something and ended up with the person's head, and then the person had like an arm, and they're just like fighting with it. Like I don't know, it's gonna be absolute chaos. I'm sure there's gonna be like a billion YouTube videos on it, and expect probably some from us because I plan on picking that up. If not day one, then probably somewhere soon, because I really enjoyed the first one. It was just so different and so zany and wacky that like the fact that we could do it in co-op just seems like it'll just be fucking fun. So
Yeah, that looks pretty cool. I like another VR game.
yeah, exactly. Ever since
Yeah.
we still didn't finish Seeking Dawn,
I thought we did. It's just like
I know we're close, but and then we
we got the
finished
credits. We finished it.
okay, well, and then we finished Raw Data as well, which I
Yeah,
actually ended up being a little disappointed in.
yeah, that was kind
I
of
thought it
short.
was well, and I thought it was more of like an actual story type game, whereas it ended up being just kind of like horde mode over and over.
Wave defense. Yeah,
hmm But it
yeah,
was
I
still
agree.
fun.
I thought it was a cool little like
Afternoon experience.
yeah, kind of like it's cool to see what VR can do. It kind of felt like an extended tech demo to me.
True.
But I did enjoy Seeking Dawn. I wish it was a little bit longer, but hey, it's an indie game. And for an
Right.
indie game, it was pretty impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I still want to play Half-Life Alex.
That's probably one I'll pick up on sale when it's cheap.
Yeah, same. I'm waiting for a sale.
Yeah. Which the winter sale's just a few months away, so who knows?
Hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's it. We don't have
Yeah.
anything else right now.
Yeah,
So,
we've been going for about an hour, a little bit over. So yeah, we'll probably call it a wrap for this episode.
yep.
I've been Matthew,
And I've been Daniel.
and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Yep. Latest.
Peace.